Welcome to Crime Scene and our continued search for justice for Nanette Ellis. I just have a few things to update, and then I want to go into something that just kind of woke me up in the middle of the night the other night. It might not be anything, but I don't know. But the first thing I wanted to say is that in my last video, I had said that Craig's photo doesn't come up in a Google search anymore, and I was wondering what was going on with that. And I had someone write to me and say that Craig's photo does come up in a search, but on a different search engine, which, I cannot believe that my dumb ass didn't even check other search engines. I only checked Google, which, okay. But yeah, it does apparently come up on other search engines. I don't know why it wouldn't come up on Google, though, because that's how I found it in the first place. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if that means anything at all. Okay, also, I wanted to have an update on the questions that I sent to Detective Sergeant Kyle Simpson. I wrote to him early April, I think it was, and I got back an automatic reply saying that he was away until the 17th of May. So I was waiting to the 17th of May. By the 20th of May, I hadn't heard anything back. And I thought, well, he's probably got a lot of emails to answer after being away for that long, and he's only just come back, so I wasn't too concerned about it, but I just sent a very quick email saying, hey, I wrote to you a while ago because I'd like to ask some questions about the Nanette Ellis case and all sorts of stuff. He wrote back to me the same day, and he told me that he's no longer with the homicide squad, so he's no longer the person in charge of Nanette's case. He's moved on to the missing persons squad. But he did say if I send him a list of the questions, he will make sure that the team in charge of it gets my questions. So that's what I did. I wrote him a list of questions, and I asked him if he could please pass them along to the person who's now in charge. I also asked who is the person in charge now. But to date, I have not gotten a reply from either Detective Sergeant Simpson about who the person is in charge now, or from the person who is in charge of it. And that was May 22nd, today's June 1st. So 10 days ago. Still haven't heard anything. I might have to get back onto that, find out who's in charge, because at this stage, I don't know if he actually has passed on the questions or if they're just still sitting in his inbox. I have no idea. But just quickly, the questions that I asked were basically the questions I've already discussed in previous videos. I asked, is there any DNA? Did you find the murder weapon? Who let Craig into the house? Why would they let someone in the back door past the body? And what did Craig need to get from the house? Was there any sign that Nanette made an attempt to get the bat or the gun by the front door? Did the friends that were supposed to go up with Nanette that night show up at the house? How were Max, Craig, and Greg eliminated as suspects? Did anyone check for fingerprints on the radio? Did Greg come home at the same time each time he visited the neighbours? Was there a local teenager who was a suspect? Was there any evidence that the murderer cleaned up before he left the house? Why was Nanette's body cremated 6 days after her death, and is that typical with homicide victims? Who took down the Justice for Nanette May Ellis Facebook page and why? Who decided to call off the police escort? Is it normal for someone who has had their car vandalised to be escorted to work by police for a week? What made the police think her life was in danger? Craig said in an interview that Nanette had called him on the Friday and said that she thought it was going to be okay now. Why would she think that? And last one, who knew that Craig was at the neighbours at that time? So they're the questions that I asked. There was 16 of them there, so it's quite a few. Hopefully we'll get an answer to at least a couple of them. I know being an open investigation, they might not be very willing to answer any of these questions, if they even know the answer to any of these questions. So I will get back onto that, try to find out who's in charge and see if they receive the questions and if they're actually going to answer any of them. Now, with all that update kind of done, the thing that I sat up. I will just say first, before I say this, because yes, this does keep me up at night sometimes. I know it's nearly a 40-year-old case, and I didn't even know these people, or I didn't know Nanette especially. And so you might be wondering, well, why are you waking up in the middle of the night thinking about this? And I did have somebody actually email me and say, what was my reason for wanting to solve this case? And the answer really is it's an unsolved crime. It's an unsolved crime of a woman who was not a high-risk person, who has been going about her daily life, not doing anything wrong, going to work, trying to support her children, just a nice, normal, everyday woman. And she's had something happen to her that is just so horrible and so out of the ordinary. And I hate to think that somebody who could just stab somebody that many times, somebody who was just a normal person, stabbed that many times, obviously such a rage. And I think this person has been on the loose. Now, this person may have actually been arrested for another crime since then. Could have been in jail this whole time. But on the opposite side, he could have got away with it. He could have gone and killed more people. We have no idea who this person is. That's what keeps me up at night. And it's not just Nanette. There are other people, other cases, and I will be covering them on this channel as well as soon as I get 5 seconds to do anything. I just want justice for people who don't get any. That's it. That's why I'm doing this. It's not because of any sinister thing. I hate to think there's somebody running around out there who is this evil. I think that Nanette deserves justice. I think that everybody who has been brutally murdered deserves justice. I think that everybody who has murdered someone deserves prison time. And that's it. Okay, on to what was waking me up the other night. In the middle of the night, I just woke up and I was thinking about I think it was the last video that I did when I said, what did Greg know that nobody else does? Because in the press conference, he said that he believed there was 2 people involved. And that got me thinking, and I was thinking, why? What part of the murder scene suggests that there was one more person? And I've been thinking about that for a while. And then in the middle of the night, I woke up and I thought, maybe that's why she didn't run towards the front door, because that's been bothering me. It's been bothering me that she was very scared enough to get a police escort, scared enough to put a gun and a bat by the door. So she's got these weapons by the door. She's probably been thinking in her mind that, hey, she might have to use these objects one day. This person may actually do something that would cause her to have to grab the gun or the bat. And yet, when she's being stabbed, instead of like in the video I showed where we had the pictures of her house, and we saw that where she was started to be attacked in the hallway by her bedroom door, it was an absolute straight shot to the front door and to where those weapons were. And yet she ran down the hallway, she turned left, and then went out the back. And that never made any sense to me. And I think I spoke before about how it might have been somebody that she loved, and maybe she didn't want to hurt them back, and maybe that's why she didn't go for the weapons. But after thinking about what Greg said, that maybe 2 people, I thought, was somebody in her way? Was somebody attacking her? Was she running away from the attacker? But the reason she didn't run to the front door is because there was another person standing in her way. And that's why she went left and went out, because somebody else was there. I don't know. What do you think? Tell me in the comments if you think that might be a viable scenario. I'm not sure. It could have been the other scenario, someone that loved her attacking her, but maybe the reason why she didn't go to the front door is because somebody was blocking it. Maybe there were 2 people. Maybe Greg does know something. I don't know. That's it. That's all I have to say. Tell me what you think in the comments, and I'll talk to you next time.